we have Christine McNeil with the Kentucky Department of Economic Development, correct? And she's going to be talking to us about a couple of programs that they have to offer that are beneficial for small businesses. One of them is the Kentucky Small Business Tax Credit Program, and the other one is the Kentucky Small Business Credit Initiative. There you go, we got it. So, Christine McNeil, it's all yours.
All right, great, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys inviting me down here today. There is a program, we were not sure if we were going to have a projector or not, so I apologize, I would have printed these slides later. But I'm just kind of, so you might have to take a couple notes, so that's hard to read. But basically, I'm with the Cabinet for Economic Development out of Frankfort, Kentucky, and I work in the Office of Entrepreneurship, so it's a small 5-man team right now, and we take care of all the small business needs. So basically, we streamlined a few years ago, streamlined all of our small business resources, small business, commercialization, innovation, streamlined all of our services into one umbrella for entrepreneurship. Kind of fill that pipeline, help communities keep their pipeline for entrepreneurship and small businesses, keeping the ones they have in business, and being able to have a community where more small businesses can open up and start their business. So like I said, I'm in the Office of Entrepreneurship. So we have a couple programs specifically to small business where I'm going to focus on today. Because small businesses do have a little bit of unique needs. Their needs are a little bit different than when we're focusing on larger industry coming into communities. So the one, our cabinet, if you guys use our programs with our cabinet, anybody familiar with that shit? No, okay, great. So, well, I don't know what's going on, but we'll jump into it. So our cabinet for economic development, so a lot of times people are like, well, what is that? And you guys have, community economic development teams too. But we're the cabinet that our job is to encourage creation of jobs and investments. That's what everybody wants to know about, right? Jobs and investments. We call it all day, jobs and investments. So that's what we're really designed to help promote in Kentucky. We work through a lot of local agencies, like our community economic departments, or Chamber of Commerce, like clubs like the Rotary Clubs, different organizations in the communities to help kind of get that word out to everybody and hear what your communities are asking for, what you guys need, and ways that we can tailor our services. All these programs we're going to talk about today, none of them existed 5 years ago. So we really try to listen and keep innovating, programs that are going to help and keep creating things that are going to help our small businesses. Just a little statistics about Kentucky so you kind of know where we're landing. Kentucky, the Kaufman report reported Kentucky is number one 2013, 2014 year for number one in small business growth in the country. So that was really exciting. We're pretty proud of that. The really interesting thing we found out about that statistic is that most of those companies are 1, 2, maybe 3 employee small businesses. So, we're not talking about like 500 employees, small business under the SBA guidelines. We're talking about 1 or 2 employees. Those are mom and pop shops. Those are the small businesses that are keeping our communities, running and attracting a lot of other people to our communities. The one we're going to talk about probably the most, maybe you guys have most questions about, is our business tax credit. And there is a flyer underneath us, a little rat card. It's like 10 things you need to know. So if you forget everything, just don't forget where that card is. So that's your cheat sheet. So the small business tax credit has been, it's been really great. We just don't think enough people know about it. So one of the things about this program is that we're awarded $3 million every year. Our program runs on a fiscal year, but for the purpose of business, it runs on a calendar year for the businesses. So every year we get $3 million to award a small business tax credit. It's a credit for creating jobs and investing in your company. So a lot of times small businesses don't have the problem investing in the company. So it's really job driven, and we'll see that here in a second as we look through it. I have some little stats on here, see if I can read these. All right, since we started this program in 2011. Since we started in 2011, we've approved 97 projects. We know there are more than 97 small businesses in the state. Companies are allowed to get up to $25,000 per year, that's per calendar year. And so far, we've created, today is one of our scheduled board meeting days, so after today, we'll set a new number. But so far, we've approved $755,000 in tax credits for small businesses. That it reflects the investments that the small businesses have made. I think that's $92.9 million in investments that our small businesses are making in themselves. And that also reflects 242 new jobs that were created on those, they submit on those applications. The sad thing about this, that last bubble, which is kind of hard to read on that slide, we're awarded $3 million every year to award and tap a small business tax credit. So you see we've awarded 755 since 2011. So basically, small businesses have left over $11 million on the table that could have been claimed. So that's the part of it we don't like. We just don't, it's not like it's a hard program, it's not like it's an onerous application or anything, we just think that there aren't enough small businesses who know about it. So we're this huge push to get out in the communities, to come speak to people like you guys, and just let you guys know about it, and know how simple it is, and basically it's one of those programs that everybody will qualify for, as long as they're creating jobs and investing in their company. All right, so the way the program works is that they get a tax credit, and you don't have to remember all this math, we'll just kind of do a little scenario. So basically the program works is that you get a $3,500 credit for creating a position in your company, a new position. All right, so this, and we're going to say position, not employee. A lot of paperwork says employee, but it's really position. And you have to invest at least $5,000 in your company, qualifying equipment or investment, equipment or technology. All right, so in the investment part, it's easy. I mean, things like computers, office furniture, new vehicles, any machinery that you're going to use in your company to run your business, technology, software, as long as that unit value of the thing you're claiming, the equipment or technology, has a unit value of $300 or more and has a life expectancy of over a year. So software subscriptions, anything that's a subscription doesn't really count, because like antivirus software, you're not really using that for more than a year, and it usually doesn't cost over $300.
Does that count towards like new businesses,
Mhm.
startup costs?
Yep. As long as that unit price is $300. And an example of that unit price kind of comes into play, like computers is a good one. It depends how your invoice is written, because you do have to submit invoices and proof of payments for your equipment. So like a computer, sometimes you'll get an invoice that just says Dell, and it's like, $1,200. Great, it's a $1,200, invoice, we can take that $1,200. If it breaks it out, computer, $599, monitor, 100, RAM, 70, it breaks all these little things out. All those little units that are under $300 we can't take, because they don't have a unit price over $300. So it depends how it's priced out on your invoice. We can't do soft costs like we can't do labor, and we can't do like shipping, obviously taxes. So you got to take all those soft costs out. And then as long as that unit price is over $300, it qualifies. So some software programs you can't. We usually think of this as tangible. Some software isn't tangible anymore. Some technology isn't. So as long as that unit price is over $300, you're expecting to use it for more than a year. So a lot of your business software that you're using, you're using it for more than a year. Those things are all eligible. So, and if we can separate labor from the supplies, materials on that invoice, we can still take all the materials that qualify from those. So okay, so back to the position. So new positions. New positions are for full-time Kentucky employees. You guys aren't quite on the border, so you might not have as much influx from other states. But so these are full-time Kentucky employees that are subject to Kentucky income tax. Full-time is in working an average of 35 hours per week. So whatever that is times 52. So we understand some jobs are seasonal, that you don't necessarily work 30 hours every week, but you have a big seasonal weight pushing hours. So as long as they're averaging 35 hours and they're averaging $10.88 an hour or more. And that $10.88 is 150% above minimum wage. So if we have a minimum wage change here soon, then we'll have to refigure that. But right now it's sitting at $10.88 an hour. And again, that's an average. So if you have restaurants, because a lot of times restaurants, their employees work tons of hours, but they come in under $10.88, their tips, because they're doing commissions, those all factor in, just that we don't factor in benefits. It used to be when this program first started, companies had to submit payroll records. And it was really onerous for us to look through it all. It was hard for the companies to submit it all, and everybody does payroll differently. So we don't do that anymore. It changed in 2014. So if you know anybody who's used the program before last summer, then they might have a different story to tell. Now it's all self-certifying. So when you put in your positions, what your employees are making, that's all self-certifying. So hopefully you can prove it if you get audited. But we don't do that anymore because it's a payroll disaster. So anyway, so you put in your positions, and then we do ask for documentation for the equipment. We do need proof of payment, you need front back a check, and e-payment if you're ordering something off the internet, it's credit card statements, whatever, it just shows that you paid it. Yeah.
Is there still a 2-year look-back period?
Yes, there is a 2-year look-back period. So this program, all right, so we'll get more into the weeds of this. So like I said, it's a 2-year look-back. And the other unique thing about this program, one, it's a look-back program. All of our other initiatives with our cabinet are projecting what your company is going to do down the road. So this one, you've already done it. So really, this is a cookie and an attaboy for doing a good job done. You're providing jobs and you're investing in your company. So we're gonna, provide you a credit for doing that. Those jobs that you're creating have to be filled for at least 12 months. Once that position has been filled, I was going to say employee, once that position's been filled, because we now understand people don't always stay. So if somebody leaves, they get fired, doesn't work out, we understand that. So as long as you have like a 45-day grace period to refill the position. So as long as that position's been filled for 12 months, then you're eligible to claim it on your application. So there's a $3,500 credit for each position. So the minimum's one position, $5,000 investment. And the way the tax credit works is, a lot of times people get confused about this part, is that you get the lesser of the two. So this is why it's really job driven, is your maximum potential is really with the positions. So if you have one position, you're gonna get a $3,500 credit, because that's the minimum, because that's less than the $5,000. If you have a $10,000 investment, you're still gonna only get the $3,500 for that one position. So the more positions you have on your application, then the more your tax credit is going to be. So if you have two jobs, you're going to have $7,000 worth of potential tax credit. If you just do the minimum $5,000 investment, that's less, so you get the $5,000 for tax credit. So I encourage companies, because usually the investments isn't the hard part. It's, they're claiming their new employees, so we try to encourage them to match that with their investments. So if you have two employees on there, you're going to get $7,000. We try to match that with your investment, so that's at least $7,000. That way you'll get your potential credit. Okay, so we're looking back 2 years. We're capturing all those positions that we've created, so our base employment's going up. The maximum that a company can receive in tax credit per calendar year is $25,000. That's 8 positions, so you have to have at least 8 positions on there to get that max. Now you can apply as many times in 1 year as you want. You don't have to have all 8 of them on one application. And like I said, this is a look back, so as we cycle around, we don't lose anybody. And we shouldn't, because we get 2 years to look back. So let's say you hire 16 people in one year. All right, we'll put the first 8 on the application, but then the next year, calendar year starts over, we get to start from 0 again. So the next year, we get to still look back, and we should still be able to capture those other 8. So once you start applying, we should never lose anybody, as long as everybody's qualified. So that's one nice thing about this program. The other nice thing is that this program is open to everybody. It is open to all retail, all service, farms, ag businesses, it doesn't matter. A lot of the program and initiatives that our covenant offers, retail and service, aren't included. They're not eligible for a lot of the other programs. This one is, so anybody basically who's doing business, if it's a sole proprietor, lawn care service, there's one guy working, as long as he's paying himself a W-2, and he created that one position with his company, he's eligible to claim that one position. So in this program, small businesses are considered companies with 50 employees or less. So once you hire that 50th employee, then you're going to knock yourself out of the program. But hopefully we've captured all those positions you've created to get to that point. All right, anybody have any questions?
I do have one question
Yeah.
on when you talk about the Kentucky jobs.
Yes.
We do have one market that's very close to state Tennessee. I
Mhm.
know that, and actually it's where I was from, working at market.
Yeah.
I paid state income tax, city county taxes.
Mhm.
If somebody lives out of state and commutes back and forth, is that still eligible?
If they are subject to Kentucky income tax, yes.
Okay.
All right, so full-time employees, $10.88 an hour, subject to Kentucky income tax. We do not count part-time employees. 2 part-times does not equal 1 in this program. And we don't count 1099 employees or out-of-state employees. So if you have some people in other states.
How do you handle what company moving into the state of Kentucky from another state?
We look, as long as they're moving in and becoming a Kentucky company, I mean, even if they're based out of another company, this is where the lines get gray, and they can, really the focus is here is that we want to promote jobs and investment in Kentucky. So kind of we have the idea, we don't really care where you come from, as long as you're investing into our state. So theoretically, especially if you have parent companies, in their scenario where we're assuming they're staying in business in the outside company and they're just opening another site within our state, or they moving the whole project over here.
Moving the whole project?
Okay, so move the whole project over here, it's almost like a startup. So they're starting from scratch. They have like a zero base employment because they have no Kentucky employees subject, to Kentucky income tax. So they're basically starting with a base employment of 0. And as they start hiring jobs in the state, then they're going to build that employment. All right, and now on the flip side of that, if you have companies that have sites in Tennessee and Kentucky, we don't count the Tennessee employees, okay? Even if they could have 300 employees, and only 12 Kentucky, in our view, they only have 12 employees. Okay, we're not counting the other 300. So they're still a small business for our scenario. Also, like restaurants, again, as an example, you have parent companies, you have a bunch of different sites, different little franchises or facilities. As long as they're operating under one, tax ID number, we look at that as one company. So if you have a restaurant that's got a bunch of sites set up, but they're doing that under one, umbrella, then we got to count all those employees. If they're running all the restaurants under different tax ID numbers, then we treat them all as separate entities. So they can, just total
Are there
insurance.
any programs with Kentucky for enticing a company to move to Kentucky from?
There are. Yeah, our KBI program is one of those. Our KBI is structured for a little bit bigger programs and bigger industries. The idea is that KBI takes companies that don't have to be in Kentucky to do business, like headquarters, manufacturing plants, and where they have to have like 50% of their income, their business comes from out of state. So, which kind of is like, they don't have to be in Kentucky to do business.
So that's the same people or?
Yeah, that's with our cabinet.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Do you have recognition on
I don't have any with me, but I think our website's on my card, and you get that information on our website. You can email me or call me, and I can directly email you some information on that. But we do. They're again, they're usually tax incentives is the way that works, and it can be tax incentives through income or with wage withholding. So there's some different options, and that's again those are look forward programs. So it's kind of we can bundle a package saying, hey, you come to Kentucky, here's what we're going to offer you, what are you going to do over the next 3, 5, 10 years? So that's kind of how that program works. Any other questions?
Did you say the new hire has to be made at least 1088?
Yeah, 1088, 150% above minimum wage.
So if you have a pre-existing employee, you just bump that over.
Yeah, where that comes in is ideally, now with the first application, we don't have a lot of control over that, but once you submit once, we'll be able to control it moving forward. The idea is that you've created a new position. So if you have a part-time employee or an employee that is making less than 1088 and you bump them up in pay, we'll give them a new title, now they're senior chair warmer, and now they get 1088, $12 an hour. The idea is that you're replacing and hiring somebody to fill that spot they were in. So you still have to increase your base employment. So you can take, that's why it's really new positions, not new employees, because you get part-time employees that become full-time, or like that you have somebody who's making less than that, and then they move up. So as long as the idea is as long as you're replacing the person under them, and then once you apply once, we'll capture your base employment. So as you move forward, if you just promote people and don't fill the spot under them, you won't change your base employment, or if you, like a bunch of people leave your company, then you hire more, it doesn't change your base employment, so we won't be able to capture those. So hopefully, we're growing the business and we're retaining our people. So, any other questions on that one?
I see that real property is excluded. What about, there's a lot of energy conscious remodeling and innovation.
Mhm, yep.
And for example, I have one member that I know that is replacing all these overhead fluorescent light with LED light.
Mhm.
As far as, is that going to count as far as?
Well, it depends how it's written out, because if each LED light is a unit price of less than 300, it won't come across on the invoice as being acceptable. So if he has an invoice for 50 new lights or 50 new windows, or, but each unit is less than $300, it won't be eligible.
But it is possible that, if you bought 50, he has an invoice for what it is.
Yeah, but if it's 50 at $100 each, so it'll say on the, yeah, it's short the unit price.
Yeah, but, if he had a contractor do it, the contractor did it for X number of dollars, and maybe
Right.
give an invoice for labor, an invoice for materials, gross.
Yeah, it depends how that invoice is written out.
But my question is, though, is that the improvement to the building could count.
It can, and sometimes those get in gray areas. And the nice thing about when you submit all these applications come into our office, our 5-man team. So we're the ones reviewing them, we're the ones that are getting ready. They're all approved by our head for board meeting at the end of the month, but we get them ready all pretty with the bell on top before they go to the board meeting. So by the time we get that preliminary approval through, we're good to go, pretty much. So a lot of times, if we have questionable gray area things, or whether or not it's something your company really needed to do business, or it was an improvement to the building that they didn't like, some building improvements do go through. We've done several. So it just depends kind of case by case when it starts getting gray. Sometimes all they request is just a letter stating why your company needed to purchase this item. And a lot of times that letter is good enough, just saying, hey, this is what we're using it for, this is how it helped us do business, this is, you know. So reducing cost, reducing overhead, you know, is a viable, you know,
Well, he just made a statement to me that he spent $10,000 on one building,
right,
the LED lighting, that can be vapor material, you know.
right,
In that scenario though, would he also have to create a position?
yeah,
If you just do the capital improvements, you
Right.
can't, you're not.
yeah, you gotta do both,
Yeah, he probably would.
right, yeah.
Because it's kind of an expansion to
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times there's other things in there too that we can, because once you get us the application, we can kind of help you think, you know, well, what, okay, well, if we see you did this, well, what else did you do? Do you have any of this? And we can kind of think of some other ideas that we think you may have expenses for, that maybe we can help kind of, you know, brainstorm and get it all together.
What about training count? Well, you said labor doesn't count.
Yeah,
And
they really
that's-
count. Yeah, it's gotta
Yeah.
be tangible, basically.
The 1088, does that have to be like your normal hourly wage, or like if they make
Average.
10, average, like if they make 10, that overtime?
Yeah, I think that's like 18,000 something a year. So if their W-2 is showing that they've made that much annually, then that averages out to 1088 an hour. So sometimes, you know, if you have like a $10 employee and they increase their pay over those 12 months, you know, that we're looking back, they've got to fill that position for 12 months. So let's say they start at 10 and by the end of that 12 months, they've bumped up, you know, whatever.
Yeah, Is that?
It'll average out.
Is that figure based on like the 1088 times 35? The 18
Hours.
35 hours,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
So as long as they average,
It's 19.
Okay,
19. So if they show 19, whatever.
right, and that averages out.
even if they made like 980 or 40 hours?
Yeah, I get, well, yeah, I
as long
guess,
as it-
because it'll,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because
It'll
you get
average
an extra
out.
5 hours.
yeah, because you get that every, yeah,
Okay.
All you gotta do is give yourself, all you gotta do is give yourself a raise.
sure.
Myself, I'm just trying to look out for my other employees. They're gonna benefit, but I want to benefit from the taxpayer if I get it right.
Okay, I'll talk real quick about the credit initiative. This is our lending program, because credit initiative, you know, sometimes it means a lot to small businesses. Our lending program, there's a flyer in there, I think behind the tax credit flyer, and it also lists some of the surrounding counties, participating lenders, and I know we've got Fifth Third and First Southern here that are in our program. So there's lots of options around around our surrounding counties here that are participating in the program. Basically, this is a federal, this whole program came out of the state credit initiative, or it came out of the Jobs Act fund. So this is U.S. Treasury money that the state's getting. Now Kentucky's been awarded $15 million in federal funds to create programs to get the money into the hands of small businesses, which is how this all started. So there's several facets to this whole credit initiative program. But the one that's the most popular, the ones the lenders are using the most, the one that we're going to focus our time on, is our collateral support program. So, like I said, you've got participating lenders here on this list. We can always enroll new lenders. So if small businesses, if you guys are talking about other small businesses or think might be a fit for this program, if you guys have a lender you're comfortable working with, you can use, you know, we can always enroll new lenders. It's not like you have to use these that are on there, because we'll all the time enroll new lenders as they become aware of the program. But our collateral support program is basically that's collateral support. So a lot of times with small businesses, a lot of times they're risky investments for banks, and we understand that. Banks understand that, and sometimes they're good projects, good loans. They're just falling just below the line to where the bank can really comfortably, you know, approve that loan and close that deal. So a lot of times the risk comes in they're startups, they're young businesses, they're less than 2 years old, they don't have collateral, they don't have enough experience, you know, enough things to make that collateral, or they're buying new trucks, they're buying new equipment, or they're going to use the trucks or the equipment as the collateral. But once you do that, once you buy it, we all know it loses value once you take it out of the package, right? So a lot of times that collateral falls short, and businesses don't have it, especially if you're a one-man lawn mowing company. I mean, you don't have a whole lot of assets. You know, you have just some equipment, but you don't have, you know, big dollar collateral to go up for to secure those loans. So that's where we come in with the credit support. We can come in and support up to 20% of the total project amount. So this has been really helpful to a lot of small businesses. The whole point is to help this and the credit initiative. The whole point is to free up cash flow to small businesses. So if you're using that tax credit at the tax time, so you're not paying the revenue cabinet, you know, a couple $1,000s every year, that frees up cash flow back in your pocket. Same with the credit initiative. If we can help put up that 20% collateral so that you guys aren't scrounging around trying to come up with that, you know, money, you know, you're just shy of that deal, but you know, your credit's good or what, you know, it looks like a good deal and they just can't quite, you know, make it above the line. That's where we come in and have the support and get that raised above the line and secure that deal. So hopefully that frees up some cash flow and it gets a small business loan, you know, closed so that you guys can, you know, expand your businesses, hire more people, make more investments. So obviously the two of these programs kind of go hand in hand. If you're getting a loan for a piece of equipment, guess what? You're probably expanding. You might be hiring somebody or hired someone in the last 2 years. So this is a great value added for banks. They can say, hey, you know what? You probably might have qualified for the small business tax credit too. Small business tax credit. You guys are trying to make investments. So a lot of times we'll kind of pitch them, so to speak, together. So companies are calling us, we're getting ready to hire people, you know, how does this program work? I'm like, well, we also have this lending program, because sometimes it's, you know, hard for small business, especially coming out of the recession. People already start having jobs, stuff's picking up. A lot of businesses are starting to grow, where they're growing or they're just getting back to where they were, you know, 5 years ago. So this program has been really successful. It's really helped. The banks have really liked it once they find out about it and get involved. It's a simple process. This is one where we work with the lender. We'll talk to small businesses about it. We'll help you out. We'll, you know, have that conversation between you and the lender. That's great. But ultimately, this is up to the lender. It's up to them to do the loan. They're in control of the loan. They're in control of your interest rate, the terms of the loan. That's all the lender. All we do is we come in and add support. We make a cash deposit in the collateral support program. We make a cash deposit directly into the bank. And if it's like a CDFI, it's not a bank, then we, you know, make that cash deposit in their name, you know, with the bank that they're choosing. So we come in and we set, basically the whole point is to take the risk off the bank so that we can help them make more small business loans. All right, so you don't owe us anything if, you know, you sign non-participate in a government project. And then, but you don't actually have a loan with us. If something happens and your project doesn't go well, which we hope that doesn't happen, hopefully everybody pays the bank back, but you're not tied to us. We take that risk. So that's been a
Are you saying,
program.
is it basically a grant? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
So if they're eligible for the cash, they don't have to pay it back, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, because it goes, the deal is really between us and the bank. So we give the bank that 20% collateral, that 20% cash deposit. That's their collateral to secure that loan. So if the small business doesn't finish out their loan, you know, defaults on their loan, the bank uses that 20% cash collateral. So when that loan's all done and said and everybody's happy and business is growing, we take our 20% back. And then we help the next business out.
Well, if you default, or if that company defaults, then what happens for you?
Well, we lose that 20%, that's our risk. So,
How do you?
Go back to the bank.
But the bank uses it.
yeah, well, I mean, they have risk in it too, because
Yeah.
they're losing the loan. But hopefully our 20% is helping them cushion that risk.
Yeah.
So
Just
that
like
they can do
SBA
that.
guarantee,
Mhm.
really, I mean, they'll guarantee 25% or,
Mhm.
and really, it's a little different though, where that's 20% of the project. When a lot of people have the misconception of SBA loans, that say you had a 75-25, they're not guaranteeing 25% of the loan, they're guaranteeing 25% of any loss.
Right,
So they're just gonna share the loss, whereas this
Right.
other works a little different.
yeah. And the other thing, I mean, I love SBA programs, I've used them before in my own small business too. This program is run through our Office of Entrepreneurship, our 5-man team, and our finance department. We can turn this program around, your application around in a week, sometimes less. SBA, sometimes it takes, 15 days just to know they got your application. And it goes to a hub somewhere. So this one, I mean, if you're working with your bank, and you're like, this is my closing date. I gotta work on this and we gotta be ready to close, because you have to get approval before you close. So we can work with you and we'll get that turned around. Most of these are turned around in a week. Once we get our application in, if we have our paperwork, we're good. Our support can go up to, our 20% support, we can go up to $5 million. So we're talking whether there's a $30 million project or whatever. So we can, they don't have to be small projects, they don't have to be microloans, they can. We do lots of those. But I mean, we can go big too. So, and the other thing with this Treasury program, it is Treasury fund, but once that $15 million, we're getting ready to draw down our third tranche. We've already done our $10 million. We're getting ready to pull down that last $5 million. once that money comes into Kentucky, it stays here. So once these loans, and we've got people who have started in this program and they've paid off their loans and they're moving on, we're capturing all that money back. That money stays in the state, it stays with our cabinet, so we can keep making new business loans, or we can create more programs and other initiatives. So once we get that money here, it's staying here.
What about agriculture? Like farm operations?
Yep. So we do that. And the guidelines for small business for this credit initiative are like the SBA, or they go with the SBA guidelines, so it's 500 employees or less. And the other thing, speaking of SBA, if you guys are familiar with like 504 loans with SBA, one thing that we can do with this credit initiative, which has been nice, let's say you have an expansion project, a construction project, because a lot of times banks will give you kind of like we'll talk loosely because I'm not a banker, kind of give you like a line of credit during your construction period, right? And then they term it out when you're done. And you 504 loan, the SBA support on that end. We can actually finance up to 24 months. They can defer payment to us, or, well, that's another project. But we can finance the 20% of that construction loan, so if you got like 6 months, on the front end of it. We just can't run 504 and our program at the same time because it's 2 federal monies, so we just have to close one. But usually it does, because once you're done with that construction period, it closes out and your bank terms it out, and the 504 kicks in. So there's lots of options, there's lots of ways to work with us, so especially for your bankers. If you guys got projects, you got small business projects, our lenders, they'll shoot us emails all the time. Here's my project, does it fit? What can we do? Is there any way we can make it fit? So our projects that our support's more than $250,000 do have to be approved by our board. If it's less than $250,000 on our end, we can approve them, all day long. Pump those out every week.
Board meeting monthly. How often is the board meeting?
Every month, the last Thursday of every month. So today is a board meeting day. So if there are bigger amounts, so we do a lot that are like $49.99. Just because the banks are like, I gotta close before the end of the month. We gotta get this moving on. So, but we can work with whatever.
Any more questions for Christine? All right, Christine, thank you very much. For your benefit, so we're going back up to the beginning, because I usually have everybody introduce themselves, so we know who you've been talking to. Let's start right here with Trent.
Hi, Trent Burrow, I'm business manager with the Ashford County.
I'm Kartik, manage the Relaxing Suites in Kentucky.
Taylor, manager of the Verizon store and owner of the Core Fitness Gym.
Jim Stott, Bayview Properties.
President. Ms. Jean.
Judy Stone, retired 3 times and working 2 part-time jobs.
There you go.
I'm Katie Gibson, I'm the financial center manager for the Third Bank.
I'm Jason Redburn, the community president and for First Southern National Bank, also the president of the Chamber of Commerce there for 5.5 while. I'm banquets tonight.
I'm Cindy Crowley, I'm with WCBL and WCCK Radio.
Jerry Aldrich, the travel leader.
Done now, but I'm 3 next to us.
Pleasure to meet you guys. I'll be here for a little bit too, so if you guys have any other questions. So you have my card inside the folder, so you can always call me, send me an email. I'm pretty good at returning emails pretty quickly, so.
How often do you get to Western Kentucky?
Right now, it feels like we're coming here a lot. I was in, this is probably the far west I've been this year. One of my associates had just been, I don't know where she was. She was out here somewhere, and then she's getting ready to do here in August. She's doing a Murray, Paducah, and then E-Town. So we've got a new community development crew that's just kind of started a new kind of branch of our cabinet, and they've just finished like two week stints where they came all through Western Kentucky. So they've been through talking to communities, and then I want to be back in Central City and Brownsville here within the month. So I feel like we're on like the Western Kentucky tour. But I like that because it seems like Western Kentucky's growing. I mean, everybody's ready to,
I'm in the Marshall County Rotary Club and would love to have
Sure, yeah.
someone from you.
Yep, most definitely, glad to do that. Like I said, we're on the road meeting businesses. Today I've got to run, so I've got stuff this evening back home, but usually I'm always up for, if you got small businesses that you want me to talk to, because not everybody, that's the hard part with small businesses, and I understand that. We have a family small business too. it's hard to get small business owners out the door. You know, food helps to entice everybody to get here, but people are busy, and we understand that. So a lot of times, if, you know, we're glad to knock on doors and just drive around town all day. So,
Yeah, this is an opportune time, Marshall County, since we just voted to go in, we're gonna have package stores and
That's right.
restaurants expanding. Again, keep in mind, Fifth Third and First Southern National are participants. And on your website, there's a listing, and I looked at it, and there are other local bank that are participants also. But you can go to that website if you're looking for a particular bank, and just like Christine said, if they don't participate today, all they have to do is enroll. And I just need some criteria, but okay, anybody else have anything? The golf tournament is 2 weeks from tomorrow, August 14th. There are forms back here for teams, there's forms back here for anybody that just wants to volunteer help, set up things, be around, take care of things. We need all help we can get. But we got right now, I won't say we're shy of 6 months, we've got about 14 teams now, so surely in the next 2 weeks, we'll come up to 4 more at a full house. We have basically all the whole sponsors we need. We need some more whole prizes like longest drive, closest to 10, that kind of thing. But we're in pretty good shape, you know, we can always use all the help we can get. So anybody would like to take one of those forms or just contact me at the chamber office, that'd be great. All right, Mr. Stott, you got anything?
Thank you.
Thank you. Christine, thank you very much for coming down.